You get the email. Subject line, congratulations. Your manager wants to talk. The promotion is yours. New title, more responsibility. A raise that sounds impressive when you say it out loud at dinner. And yet, standing there in your apartment that night, looking at your bank account, doing the math on rent, on groceries, on the car payment you're already behind on, something feels wrong. You got what you wanted, so why does it feel like you're still losing? I'm Freddie, and today we're going to discuss why a promotion doesn't feel like a win anymore. This isn't about gratitude. It's not about entitlement or millennials or work ethic or any of the usual talking points people throw around when someone dares to say that success doesn't feel like it used to. This is about math. Cold, simple, unforgiving math that's been quietly rewriting the rules of upward mobility while we all kept our heads down and played the game. Because here's the thing. Promotions still exist. Raises still happen. Titles still get updated on LinkedIn. The structure looks the same, but somewhere between 1995 and now, the reward at the end stopped keeping pace with the cost of living that reward was supposed to buy. And most people don't realize it until they're standing exactly where you are, promoted, proud, and somehow more broke than before. Let's start with what a promotion used to mean, not the Instagram version, the real version. In 1985, the median household income in America was around $30,000. A starter home, the kind young families actually bought, cost about $75,000. You saved for a couple years, you got a raise or two, you bought the house. The math worked. By 2000, that same house cost $160,000. Median income had climbed to around $42,000. The gap was widening, but it was still manageable. You worked hard, you got promoted, you moved up. Today, that house costs $400,000. Median household income sits just under $75,000. The math doesn't just fail to work, it collapses entirely. And here's the part that makes it worse. Wages did go up, just not where you think. Between 1979 and 2020, worker productivity in the United States increased by nearly 70%. That means the average employee is generating 70% more value per hour than they did 4 decades ago. More output, more efficiency, more profit for the company. Compensation grew by just under 12%. Let that sit for a second. 70% more productive, 12% more paid. Where did the other 58% go? Up, straight up. CEO pay increased by over 1,300% in that same window. Corporate profits hit record highs year after year. Shareholder returns exploded. The wealth was created, it just didn't trickle down to the people creating it. So when you get that promotion, when your salary jumps from $60,000 to $75,000, it feels like a big deal. And it is, for about 3 months. Then you start noticing. Rent went up again. Your health insurance premium doubled when you switched jobs 2 years ago, and it's about to spike again. Groceries cost 30% more than they did in 2020. Gas is unpredictable. Childcare, if you have kids, runs you $1,500 a month minimum. Student loans are still sitting there like a second mortgage you can't escape. And suddenly, that $15,000 raise, the one that sounded life-changing when your boss announced it, nets you maybe $900 a month after taxes, which is great until you realize your rent just increased by $600. You didn't get poorer, but you didn't get ahead either. You just ran faster to stay in place. This is the treadmill economy, and it's not a metaphor, it's policy. For decades, the Federal Reserve's primary tool for controlling inflation has been interest rates. When inflation heats up, they raise rates. The idea is to cool down spending, slow down the economy, keep prices from spiraling. But here's the catch. That cooling down comes at a cost. Higher interest rates mean higher mortgage payments, higher car loans, higher credit card debt. The people who feel it first and worst are the ones living paycheck to paycheck, the ones who just got promoted and are still trying to claw their way into stability. Meanwhile, corporations don't feel the pinch the same way. They've got cash reserves. They've got access to cheap credit they locked in years ago. They've got pricing power. When their costs go up, they just pass it on to consumers. Inflation becomes an excuse to raise prices faster than their actual costs increased. It's called greedflation, and it's not a conspiracy theory. It's in the earnings calls. Companies bragging to investors about their ability to raise prices without losing customers because everyone else is doing it too. You got a 7% raise last year, inflation ran at 8%, but your rent went up 12%. Your grocery bill jumped 15%, the company you work for posted record profits and blamed inflation for not giving bigger raises. You didn't lose, you just got played. Let's talk about housing, because this is where the whole thing falls apart. In 1985, the average home price was roughly 2.4 times the median household income. Expensive, but doable. By 2000, it was 3.8 times. By 2020, it hit 5 times. Today, in many cities, it's 7 or 8 times. This isn't a housing bubble, it's structural. Developers stopped building starter homes because the profit margins are better on luxury units. Zoning laws in most cities make it nearly impossible to build dense, affordable housing. Investment firms started buying up single-family homes by the thousands, turning them into rentals, driving up prices. Airbnb turned entire neighborhoods into de facto hotels. And wages, again, didn't keep up. So now you've got a promotion. You're making $75,000, maybe $80,000. You're doing everything right. And you still can't afford to buy a home in the city where you work. The down payment alone would take you a decade to save if you're lucky. The dream isn't dead. It's just locked behind a paywall that keeps moving further away. Here's where it gets darker. The promotion isn't just failing to deliver financially. It's also stealing your time. That new role comes with new expectations. More meetings, more responsibility, more hours. You're salaried now, which means overtime doesn't exist. You work 50 hours a week instead of 40, and your pay per hour actually goes down. You've got less time with your family, less time to sleep, less time to think. And because you're more stressed, you spend more on conveniences. Delivery apps, takeout, subscription services you don't have time to cancel. The raise evaporates into lifestyle creep designed to help you survive the job that gave you the raise. It's a trap disguised as success. And it's not just you. This is happening across income brackets, across industries, across generations. The teacher who becomes department head, the nurse who becomes a supervisor, the software engineer who becomes a lead. They all hit the same wall. Promotion, more money, same problems, sometimes worse problems. Because here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud. The system isn't broken, it's working exactly as designed, just not for you. The economy is growing, corporate profits are up, the stock market keeps hitting new highs, wealth is being created at a staggering pace. It's just concentrating at the top faster than it's being distributed at the bottom. And the people at the top, the ones designing the tax codes and the labor policies and the corporate structures, they benefit from you believing that a promotion is still a win. That if you just work a little harder, wait a little longer, stay a little more loyal, you'll break through. You won't. Not because you're not good enough, but because the math doesn't support it anymore. The middle class used to be the default destination for hard work and a decent job. Now it's a tightrope. One medical emergency, one layoff, one rent increase away from collapse. And a promotion, the thing that used to mean security, now just means you're juggling more while standing on the same tightrope. So what's the answer? Quit? Start your own business? Move to a cheaper city? Go back to school? All of those come with their own risks, their own costs, their own math problems that don't always add up. The real answer is probably systemic. Policy changes, tax reform, wage laws that actually keep up with cost of living, housing policy that prioritizes people over profit. But that takes time, and political will, and collective action. In the meantime, you've got bills to pay. So you take the promotion, you say thank you, you update your resume, you keep moving, but you stop pretending it's a win, because pretending costs something too. It costs clarity. It costs the ability to see what's actually happening. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The system wants you to feel grateful for the crumbs, the promotion, the raise, the new title, but you're not ungrateful for asking why the crumbs keep getting smaller while the cake keeps getting bigger. You're just paying attention. And maybe that's the first step.